How did a millennial first-time home buyer make $100,000 in just his first 3 years of owning a home? Hi, I'm Cheryl Moppin, and
I'm Beth Curtis here at House of Brokers.
we're on Breakfast with Bev this morning, and we're talking about a recent story we posted on our blog. We actually have the link in the description on our Facebook Live. So it talks about a young individual who made $100,000 in just 3 years of home ownership. And we're going to kind of dive in deep on how he did that. You know, he bought a multi-family property. He occupied the worst side, rented out the other side to make extra income. He used sweat equity, did a lot of fixing up. It was a fixer-upper, so the side he lived in, which was the worst condition, he fixed that up himself, saved money by doing it himself. He used tax incentives since he was renting one side. There's a lot of tax incentives just owning rental property that he could take advantage of, and different rebates with the city. And then property values also steadily decreased during those first 3 years of his own ownership. And again, the full story is on our website, and the link is posted on our page as well. But that's going to talk about some of the key takeaways from this buyer's experience that can help anybody who's looking to not just own a home, but own a home and make money and build equity with it.
And so you heard Cheryl correctly. This gentleman bought a duplex type property, did the sweat equity, did all of his homework, did all of the right things, and made $100,000 profit in a 3-year time period. A lot of people come to me and say, oh my gosh, the last few homes I lost my shirt on. It's like I always thought real estate was supposed to be this really good investment and people could refi and pay off credit cards and buy vehicles, and it's like it's supposed to be this cash cow that never stops giving. Well, that's not always the case, and that's where we have to understand real estate is typically supposed to be a long-term investment. We've turned that into a short-term vehicle to try to pay off debt, refi, do all these different types of things. But if you paid attention and go to our website and read the full article, here's what this buyer did. And he did it in a very smart way. First of all, he hooked his train onto a really good realtor that understands the market, understood his goals and what he was trying to achieve, and had a very good person on his side to negotiate, to sniff out properties, to find the ones that was going to be the best return. And the best return is not always the properties that are completely fixed up and turnkey. Everybody wants to walk into a great place, just put their things in it and not have to do anything. You pay a premium price to do that. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just depends on where you are in your venture as far as home ownership, what your time allows, what your finances allow, and what you're good at as well. Because if you have to hire a lot of things out, then you may not be able to realize that type of equity because a lot of it is doing it yourself. So the first key point is finding a good realtor that can assist you with that process. The second key point takeaway from it is finding a good lender that you can also have an established long-term relationship in addition to your realtor. Because a lender can help you find the shortcuts as far as what's the best loan programs. Should you do a VA? Should you do a government-based USDA with 100% down? They may say if you have the money, put a little sweat money into it because you're going to get a better rate. What's your credit score like? It's like, what's your employment situation? They're going to look at all the ingredients of your situation and apply it to the best programs out there. The next key point with that.
You can save a lot of money just having the right loan program set up and the right interest rates.
Oh, it's crucial. And are you going to do an ARM? Are you going to do a fixed rate? You know, all of those different factors plays into it.
And one thing this guy did, he actually refied a few years into it. Because interest rates change, you can sometimes, refinance, get lower rates, put yourself in an even better position. So always keeping an eye on that market and, being in contact with the lender.
Educating yourself on the process is crucial. No matter if you're a first-time home buyer, mid-range, long-term in the business, You always have to be educating yourself as far as property values, location, location, location is a critical thing. And what type of investment vehicle are you looking for? Some people just want to buy their personal home, have a nice plush place, and then they go out and buy their investment property and do different things. Other people want to just solely invest in investment property, and it really just depends on what your goals are. But educating yourself to the loan programs available, what the market is doing, what the market will bear, what do buyers want, those are all of the things that you have to think about. Because every seller someday will be a buyer, every buyer someday will be a seller. And so you have to think about, everybody says this is my long-term house, this is my end goal house. Well, life happens, and so it's typically not. So you always have to think about those components of, if I buy this today, what's going to be my return with probability down the road? The other piece of it that is huge, 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 and a lot of people miss the boat on this, is sweat equity. A lot of people just want to buy it totally fixed up and done to where they can live in it, don't want to do anything once they lived in it, and then they want to put it back on the market down the road at a premium price. Well, let's face it, datedness happens. It happens without thinking about it, and it happens overnight. And unfortunately, everybody chases the trends to try to stay up to date, and it's very critical that you really watch the market, look at the inventory that's selling from year to year, and what's the expectations when you go to sell. Because each year, if you want to do it correctly, you need to be doing an improvement with your property, whether it's rental, whether you own it yourself as far as your personal home. You need to be doing something that's going to keep advancing you in the market. So think about that from a long-term perspective.
Well, and sweat equity, I mean, if you hire it out, you're probably not going to be in a great situation.
Mm-hmm.
As far, yeah, you may have your home value maybe a little bit more, but you spent all that hiring it. So sweat equity really is the fastest way to.
That is the fastest way, is buying it correctly on the front end, getting a really good rate or terms with your loan program, and doing as much sweat equity as you possibly can, inside and out. And that will go a long way. I think the other thing is finding a good mentor. You're not the first person to pave the road and try to figure this out. This has happened over and over and over with real estate investors, commercial, residential. It's just the ebb and flow of real estate has always been buy low, sell high, try to always get the best buy, try to always sell at the appropriate time, always pay attention to location, think about the resale, and if you walk into the property and you fall in love with it, will it be something that somebody else 5 or 10 years will walk into? Will they fall in love with it? And if you're on the investment side of things, because we're going to have a little investment seminar coming up here too towards the end of the year, because I really think that people need to think about real estate as a long-term investment in addition to just their personal home. And there's lots of investors here in town that's been very successful, especially being a university town. And so we're going to dive into that a little bit deeper towards the end of the year. So stay tuned for that. So those are kind of the 5 things to pay attention to that Cheryl described in our story starting out. Was there anything else you wanted to add to that?
It's a really interesting story, so go read it for yourself. There's definitely some tips everybody can pick up from it.
Okay, today we're in the beautiful kitchen at 7406 Oakley Drive here in Oak Park subdivision. This is a gently lived in 1.5 story on a slab, so it has a main floor master. It's listed at $262,000, and I have to say it's got a very nice kitchen in it, granite countertops, newer carpet. It's actually only about 3 years old. So when I say gently, I mean it's almost like brand new. So if you are someone that is looking for a great location with great schools, it's in a very nice neighborhood, great floor plan, pretty much move-in condition, it's one of those that you definitely need to consider. Again, we're at 7406 Oakley Drive. Feel free to look us up on our website, And we really do appreciate you joining in on this cold, brisk Wednesday morning. So thank you guys for joining in for Breakfast with Bev. We hope you found the information to be beneficial. We will see you next week.